Hi everyone, welcome back to another spoiler for The Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Today we are going to be talking about Ogre Attack, Deepest Foundation. It's a creature that is a god. It's 7/7 for 17 mana. It does have a transformed side, but let's talk about what it does. When a token creature you control attacks for the first time during your turn, reinforce it 3 times. When this creature leaves the battlefield, transform this card, then return this card to the battlefield under your control. So, let's talk about token creatures, reinforcing it 3 times. So, the first thing I'm going to think of, obviously, is what are the biggest tokens? Which ones would benefit the most from being reinforced 3 times? And I thought Karn, Scion of Urza, his third ability makes a 12/12 token. And so when you attack with it, it's already a 12/12. So we are going to be adding basically 36/36 to it. So your next turn, you're going to be attacking with 48/48, and so on and so on. Add plus 36 basically every turn for your next turn. So that is pretty strong. Also, I was thinking, what are some other tokens in Standard that can grow to a decent size? We got PMA Elementals. So if you're playing this in a green-white deck, and you got access to the PMA 5/5 Elementals, you're basically going to be supercharging the amount of tokens that you have on the board pretty quickly. And that's also going to go well if you're playing Moonshaker Cavalry, because that thing not only reinforces everything on the board, but it also gives a buff based on how many creatures are on the board. So this sounds like a really good pairing with that. We also got, maybe you want to go old school and pull out some dragon tokens. Those are 5/5s. And then if you're not even worried about the tokens themselves being that huge, you can still really increase the amount of tokens just in general. So you got, like, for example, Rhea Ivor. That's a creature that creates a bunch of tokens on its own. So when your tokens attack, they're going to be giving you that many more tokens. And then, of course, there's also Rabble Rousing, Hallowed Haunting, Tainted Adversary, anything like that. Well, I mean, Tainted Adversary is probably a waste. When it comes to Tainted Adversary, though, reinforcing that Decayed Zombie stack probably isn't going to make a big difference. So I don't think that you'd have to worry about reinforcing the creature that many times unless, you got out a Tainted Adversary early and you're running out of Decayed Zombies or whatever. But that's not going to be why you play this card, right? There's the other cool thing of when this creature leaves the battlefield, so that means either somebody's destroying it or exiling it, or you're destroying or exiling it yourself. And so what happens when you transform this card? You get Temple of Civilization, which is a support card land. At the beginning of your turn, convert 2 gems to loyalty gems. So that's just okay. Although we don't really have a lot of loyalty gem converters in Standard right now, at least that are just straight up lands like that. There's, of course, Urza's Saga, but that's a little bit more dependent on what you have going on, what the board state is, how many supports can you match into, and all that. So when a creature attacks, if you control 5 or more creature tokens, including their reinforcements, destroy the support. However, when you destroy the support, transform this card, then return this card to the battlefield under your control. So that's cool because you can get right back to this god creature. And then I think if I'm reading that correctly, you get both the creature and the land at the same time. And if this land gets destroyed and you already had Ogre Attack on the board at the same time, I think that means that this land flipping would reinforce Ogre Attack. I think that's pretty cool too. There's a lot of interesting things that happen there. It's going to make it really hard to get rid of this creature and this land from the battlefield. So I guess maybe converting to loyalty gems is just a little bit more of a bonus, but I think for the most part, people are going to be wanting to play this card for the token creatures being reinforced. On the subject of tokens, though, sound off in the comments if you avoid playing token decks because of animation speeds. Because, okay, so the way that tokens are generated in this game, there's an animation every time it happens. However, that animation is skipped when you reinforce a token instead. So, for example, there's Academy Elite, which is not a token per se, but it does create a big stack of itself, but it's reinforcing it when it does that. So if there's a way that Webcore could make it so that we can just skip the animations for things that don't have any other additional triggers, that would be so much better for the game. I think that token strategies would come back in a major way, because I would imagine that so many people don't play tokens nearly as much as they want to, just because they can't stand to sit through the endless animations of big token stacks. So if you are one of those people and you want Webcore to maybe look into changing that, please let me know in the comments, and I hope that it catches the eye of the developers and the designers, and they really once and for all look into it, because it's a real pet peeve of mine in the game, and I'm using this little opportunity to make my opinion about it heard. So yeah, let me know. What do you guys think you want to do with this card? And or let me know what you think of tokens, and if you are desperately hoping that they will change the token animation speeds like I do. Alright, thanks guys for watching this one. Thank you again, Webcore, for letting me spoil this. I'm really glad they let me do this, and I can't wait to see what else is left to spoil for the next upcoming set. And I hope you're excited about the new set as I am. So until next time, see you later.